In the streets of Mecca where idol worship dominated hearts, a man was born who would forever change the history of Islam. He is Umar ibn Al-Khattab radiallahu anhu, the strong young man who transformed from an enemy of Islam into one of its great pillars, moving from rejecting the call to bearing its banner with a heart that knew no fear. Omar was born into the noble Quraysh tribe and grew up in a household known for its courage and leadership, who was eloquent, strong, and revered among his people. However, his heart was initially filled with the rejection of Islam. He even set out one day to kill the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But fate had a surprise in store for him. On the way, he met a companion who informed him that his sister and her husband had converted to Islam. Furious Umar rushed to their house, but he encountered verses of the Quran being recited, and his heart trembled. Tears filled his eyes, and he left their home declaring, "Show me Muhammad." There, in the presence of the noble Prophet ﷺ, Umar professed the two testimonies of faith, causing Mecca to tremble entirely. The Prophet ﷺ nicknamed him Al-Faruq because he distinguished between the truth and falsehood with sharp insight and bravery. Umar was a model of justice that shook the thrones of tyranny. It's said that during his caliphate, a caravan passed by him with a scrawny camel, and he exclaimed, "If a beast were to die of neglect by the banks of Euphrates, I would fear that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would hold me accountable for it." He feared no one but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Even in the harshest situations, on the day of the conquest of Jerusalem, he entered on foot, accompanied by his soldiers, in humility, while the Roman leaders awaited a crowned knight on horseback. After the death of Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, Umar assumed the Caliphate in 13 AH, making the beginning of a golden era in Islamic history. Under his leadership, the lands of Persia and Rome were opened, and Islam spread from Egypt to Iraq. He established the Diwan system to document and distribute wealth justly. He created the Hijri calendar and established the rules for an independent judiciary. He turned the night into inspection rounds, personally ensuring the welfare of his subjects, carrying his whip that tyrants feared. Historians say of him, he ruled with a heart that never slept and a conscience that never overlooked. In Dhul Hijjah 23 AH, while Umar was praying Fajr in his Prophet's mosque, a treacherous young Zoroastrian stabbed him. Umar accepted fate with a patient heart, saying as he bled, "Praise be to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who did not make my death at the hands of a man who claims to be a Muslim." Before he breathed his last, he advised 6 companions to choose a successor. So that it would not be said, Umar died and with him died the truth. Umar left behind an empire governed by values, not power. His life is summarized by his famous saying, "How can you enslave people when their mothers have given birth to them as free men?" Today, centuries after his departure, the name Umar continues to be echoed as a symbol of courage and justice that defies time. He is not just a companion, but the story of a person who transformed faith into action that changed the world.